Welcome to Overnight Market Brief, Pre-Market Edition by AGI Era. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, December 24th, 2025, and it is shortly after 8 a.m. Eastern Time. This is your executive summary of global market developments analyzing the overnight flows in Asia and Europe, the key macro drivers, and the setup for the North American Open. The prior session and macro context. First, a look back at yesterday's close. Wall Street finished firmly in risk-on mode, continuing its recent positive momentum. The S&P 500 settled at 6910, up 0.46%, while the Nasdaq 100 added 0.50% to close at 25,588. Crucially, the session was driven by continued enthusiasm in the technology sector, but the real story right now is in the macro assets, which are painting a more cautious picture this morning. Right now, this 10-year Treasury yield is trading higher at 4.17%. The U.S. dollar index is also firming, trading up to 97.62, while crude oil is holding steady around 58.50 cents a barrel. The concurrent rise in both yields and the dollar is creating a subtle headwind for equities as we head into the U.S. session. Overnight session, Asia and Europe. Moving to the overnight session, global markets have been quiet with a mixed tone. In Asia, the picture was mixed. In Tokyo, the Nikkei 225 finished down 0.14%. The index was pressured by a strengthening yen, which is extending its recovery after Japanese officials flagged the possibility of foreign exchange intervention. Meanwhile, in Greater China, the Hang Seng rose 0.17%, while the Shanghai Composite gained a more substantial 0.53%. The positive sentiment in China appears linked to reports that Beijing is widening its list of incentives for foreign investment to stem capital outflows. In Europe, major indices are trading flat to slightly lower in thin holiday volume. The price action suggests a lack of conviction, providing a muted lead-in for U.S. traders ahead of a shortened session. U.S. futures and the open. Turning to the U.S. pre-market, equity futures are flat. S&P 500 futures are trading unchanged, while Nasdaq 100 futures are also flat. The lack of movement reflects the holiday trading environment, with many market participants already away from their desks. The slight uptick in Treasury yields is keeping any bullish impulses in check for the technology sector. The daily catalyst. Looking ahead to the session, investors are focused on a light calendar in what will be a holiday-shortened day, with U.S. markets closing at 1 p.m. ET. First, the primary data point will be the weekly initial jobless claims, which will offer a timely read on the labor market's health. Second, traders will monitor housing and mortgage data for further clues on the state of the consumer. And finally, overall market flow will be a catalyst in itself. With significantly reduced liquidity, any institutional order flow could have an exaggerated impact on prices. With a light economic calendar, flows may be driven primarily by technical positioning and low holiday volumes. Given the overnight setup in rates and the dollar, the market's path of least resistance appears to be range-bound, pending any surprises from the data releases. That concludes your overnight market brief. Disclaimer: this podcast is not financial advice. Data may be delayed or inaccurate. Always conduct your own due diligence.